Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandman. I'm doing this pretty cheesy video for you this morning to show you how the Hummingbird works, why it works, entries, stops, management. So the way that it works is a pattern that I traded way back, and it has to do with the market's indecision every morning. We get in on this first 1 minute candle as soon as we can. Decay happens rapidly during this first 20 minutes or so of the day. So we want to take advantage of that with an iron condor, because at the open, price is going to move away from your entry. Let's say that we got in right in here somewhere. It's going to move away and it's going to return. This happens pretty much every day. When it returns, we're usually out of the trade at that point. If not here, the next retrace, we would have probably been out somewhere in here. But it has up retrace. Okay. And that's the magic that happens with the Hummingbird. And because you are synthetic naked in the trade, you're 30 wide. I like to stay at around a 7 or 8 delta. Thinkorswim is very close, very slow this morning. You get a lot of decay really fast with it, and it really helps you out if you wanted to hold the trade for the rest of the day. It really helps you out to get in super early. So here's another one here. We would have probably been in somewhere, in the trade here. Moves away, comes back. We would have been out of the trade right in here somewhere on this first pullback. So it doesn't have to come to your opening position where you actually entered the trade here at 40.54. All it has to do is make one retrace, the first pullback or retrace of the morning. So knowing that, the best way to take advantage of that sideways action, iron condor. And the best way to take advantage of theta decay is with a synthetic naked trade. Yeah, they're very high in margin, but the probability with management is also extremely high as far as your pops. Okay, so here we were in, pulled away. We were probably out right in here somewhere. But that same retrace happens every morning. Some mornings you're just going to get a drop in price and it's just going to leave you behind. Well, at that point you'll learn here in a minute, the management part of it. It can even pull away quite a bit. We were 28 or 23 points, I think, this morning. It pulled away. It made that first retrace and we were still at break even. So I'll pull back, okay, every morning, and we're out of the trade. So knowing that, your stops are very important. The most important part of the trade, not just learning how to get in the trade, but learning how to place your stops, and that you do place stops. Don't do it manually. Doing a synthetic naked iron condor 30 wide is not the smart thing to do. First thing I do once I'm filled is I'm placing my stops. I put my stops in immediately. Okay, this morning, or I'm sorry, Friday, I got in right here at this, first minute. Price went down, pulled back. I missed my fill. I had a 170 BTC. I missed it. Price went away again. I got stopped out of my put vertical right in here. So just because you're stopped doesn't mean it's the end of the whole day. It's just telling you something's wrong and you need to let price straighten back up, tell you what price wants to do. And so I waited. When it got down here, the premium was like 465 on that short put. It was implied volatility was really high, and I'm glad that I got stopped out there, because if this would have retraced here and kept going, my call side would have made up the loss or most of it. I would have been okay. I saw price reversed here. My re-entry, I saw I had about 215 here. I was stopped out at 2. I re-entered. I was out right here at 170. Okay, I pulled 30 cents out of the day, because once I see this and I can make 30 cents on the trade as a whole, whenever I do get a stop, there's no telling. This thing could have gone straight back down again. Volatile days like this, see profit, take profit, okay? So there are 3 ways to manage the trade. Okay. On your re-entries, we'll go through that real quick here. I'm still on the re-entry thing. Okay, here's a day, today. I got stopped out right here on my other account, but on the TOS account, I had no stops today. But if I stop myself out as the wing as a whole, okay, I would have been stopped out right here, okay. When I stop myself out on my shorts, it's a different story, and I'll explain that to you. But the re-entry, you would have had $3.65 premium right down here, okay. So glad you got stopped out here, okay. When price got back up to that $2 area, okay, you could have had a re-entry here at about 195. In my other account, I got 195 here on the re-entry. I was out at 170. Okay, so you saw 2 days there where we got stopped. Both days had reversals. The key here is to get in the area, or the price area, 38.19 right here, where you got stopped out. It crossed back over that line. You need to look for your re-entry right there. Okay, and you should have around the same premium, $2, 195. Okay, so that's what happened. I trade multiple accounts. That's what happened in my one account that I got stopped this morning. The TOS, the room, I did not get a stop. So once you're stopped out, wait until price comes back to that entry point, or the exit point where you did get stopped out. That should be pretty close to your re-entry. You got support resistance levels. You have, this is actually, also saw this morning. It was a W pattern here. Okay, that's a double bottom right there. That gave me a idea. Okay, so you would have had a re-entry there. Make sure your re-entry is more than your, you got stopped out, you lost $1, right? Make sure that you got $1.25. Here we had $1.95. Okay, so that's very important. I'll tell you another very important thing. If I would have entered here on my re-entry, okay, my stop would have been 50 cents. I always put a very tight stop on my re-entry. Why? I don't want to get stopped out for another dollar, okay? And if the volatility is such that I have to take a stop anyway, I'm a little leery. Okay, capital preservation is number one. So I put a very short stop on that wing, okay, on that vertical, and that would have probably stopped me out somewhere down here. It would have broke, and I'm glad, because I would have taken a bigger loss. So I would have lost 50 cents. Takes one day to make that back. We don't have stops very often. It's pretty rare occurrence for for us to have stops with the Hummingbird, because that first part of the trade is very, very the high probability, okay, trade. So I'm going to go through here real quick. Again, the 3 ways that you can. Here we go. I found it. Let me. Okay. So I did this nice little write-up here. So there's 3 ways to stop it out. Stop the trade as a whole. Okay, you're stop it out as a whole. If you get $2 premium, we'll just say $2 across the board. It keeps the math simple. You would have had a $4 stop. Okay, on the trade as a whole. Good luck with that. I've done that for a long time. It is successful, but it's not as successful as stopping out each wing separately or stopping out your shorts. Okay. It's a pretty big stop and it takes you a while to recover, and I just don't, it's not for me. You can stop the vertical out. Number 2, you can stop the vertical out as a whole, as 1x as a whole. Your short, your put vertical, your call vertical, separate them and, stop out each side. There's lots of videos how to do that on Thinkorswim. Or number 3, stop out the short strike only. Now, if you're going to stop out the short strike only, you kind of have to have some experience with that. It's not, it's something that you really, really have to be on top of, because if you pay 60 cents, let's say, for your protection, you get a reversal. That 60 cents will be 20 cents in just a matter of minutes. So you have to be on top of that. And that 60 cents, you might not be able to make that back up. So you have to be really careful there. Try to get back into the trade, whenever you see that start to happen. And the advantages of that, I have that short position out of the way. My long position can make up for the loss. I've had it where I paid 60 cents for protection. I've had it at 260, 350. I've seen it at $5, okay, before. So it made up for the loss, plus, 3 or 4 times. Plus, in addition, I had the call side working in my favor too for another $1. So the thing about this is I want to either break even or I'm going to make a profit. I'm not here to lose money. And this is not really a fire and forget trade. You can make it a fire and forget trade by stopping the trade out as a whole and just going down the road. You'll still be up in that 80% range, okay? But the drawdowns are quite hefty. Management after the fact, if you don't get that 50 cents right off the bat in the morning, you are in management mode, and you really need to be on top of it. Okay, so you're going to stop out that iron condor as a whole. You're going to stop out the vertical, both long and short position, 1x. So if you collect 110 premium, put a stop on there. You're at 210. Whenever you stop out your short strike, if I received 95 cents. Still going to add $1. So I'm kind of into this adding $1 thing lately because it's really worked out. I don't really care what I have collected on either side anymore. I add $1 to each wing as my stop on top of the credit received. Okay, so that seems to work out really good. The Hummingbird, we've had 1 loss so far this year. But I've had 4 days so far this year where I've had to manage the trade, okay, and all 4 days I had a re-entry. And if you don't have a re-entry, you can just wait for the other side to pick up the slack. You might take a 10-cent loss. I have had price come down and make a reversal and then make a reversal again. You have to make sure you're on top of both sides and keep your stops in place on both sides. Most of the time during those days, those are the only days that'll really catch me. Take 30 cent, 20 cent loss if I do this right. So very high probability trade if you manage it this way. And I'll go through my entry and how I set my stops on another segment if you guys want me to. But there's lots of videos there on Thinkorswim how to put your stops. There is one thing: if you you get in the Iron Condor as a whole, I use market orders to enter. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and show you. Whenever I enter a trade, I'm not really that concerned about what delta it is. Okay, I look at the first dollar and I go one strike towards the money. I'm going to take that $1.20 right there. I'm going to go 30 wide on it. I got 90 cents there. I'm going to do the same thing here. I got 95 cents. It's close enough to $1. I'm going to take that. It happens to be a 7 delta. I'm going to take it 30 wide. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and enter this trade just for fun. I'm just going to do one contract so I can show you. Okay, so I got one contract loaded up here. I got $1.85 here, $1.90, right? Okay, so let's say that this is the open. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, our options pull up in the skew. Go. I see I got $1.90 here. I'm good with that. I'm going to put a market order on this. I always enter market orders because I want to get in the trade, number one, and number two, I want to get in this trade evenly. I don't want to chase. Okay. So let's watch this happen here. I'll get filled here in just a second. As soon as I get filled, I will immediately do one or two things. I'm going to put my stops on my vertical as a whole. Okay. And the way that I do that is I go down here. Okay, so I'm going to create a closing order. I go up here to where it says vertical. Here's my call side, right? It's going to pull it up, that ticket, 75 cents on that. I'm going to add $1. So I'm going to be at $1.75. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the call side. Okay, so I go to my Iron Condor as a whole, create closing order. It's going to say vertical put. Okay, I'm going to do the call. I'm going to do the vertical put, and I'm going to add $1 to each of those for my stop. So whenever things are a little crazy, like right now, I'm going to stop out my short strike. I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to create closing order. I see that I got $1.10 there on just that short strike. Okay, that's premium collected. I'm going to add $1 to that. Okay, so my stop's going to be 205. And I'm going to do the same on the put side as well. Okay, so I'm going to create closing order, and I got $1.50 there. I'm going to see what that looks like down here. I'm going to add $1 to that. Okay, so and then at that point I cannot enter a BTC. Okay, it won't allow it. So I wait until I see where my profit is. Let's say that my BTC is 170 or whatever, 150. I see 150. I'll go a limit order to get out of that trade at 150. If I don't get filled and it goes back against me, I'll cancel that order and I'll put my stops into place immediately. So that's what I have to do. Now, you can't enter each wing of the Iron Condor separately. I used to do that. I found that it got me offset. It made me bias in one way or another, short or long. You can stop those out separately, but it's stopping them out separately, and I always had problems with that actually getting filled on my profit there. I want to stop the Iron Condor out as a whole. I want to enter it as a whole and separate the wings. If you try to enter the wings separately, it's not terrible, but it's just sometimes you won't get filled on one side, and then I only got filled on the put wing. Price moved against me, and I couldn't get my fill. Even on a market order, you get a terrible fill. It puts you wonky jawed, let's say, lopsided. So we don't want to do that. So enter with a market order. I have made 10 cents. I've lost 10 cents on market orders. They're not. I've never gotten a really bad fill using market orders in the morning, right at the open. I have lost a lot of trades by not getting into the trade, by trying to work with limit orders. I don't want to chase this thing. By the time I chase it, 50 cents is already out of the trade, and what am I doing? So market orders, people tell me I'm crazy, but I do okay with this. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions, I get a lot of DMs about this and how to place the stops and how to manage it. So I hope this helps. I know it's a cheesy video, but maybe they'll get better as soon as I get used to all this. So anyway, this is Sandman, and I'm standing by.